Mother, carry me, your child I will always be. Mother, carry me down to the sea. The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea. Mother, carry me, your child I will always be. Mother, carry me down to the sea.
Well, welcome to the Sanctuary Forest naming ceremony. We are currently standing in a meadow in the MATTOLE River headwaters in the ancestral territory of the Sinkyone people. And in just a few minutes, we are going to walk down a path that leads to Ancestor Grove, and that is where we will hold tonight's ceremony. But before I do that, I want to go through just a couple logistics. So my name is MARISA Formosa, and I grew up here in the MATTOLE River headwaters, and I am very honored to be leading us through the ceremony tonight. And we're just going to go around really quickly and have everyone say your name and anything else about yourself if you wish. Why don't we start here?
I'm Ruby, and I live in the MATTOLE headwaters.
I'm Victoria. I'm here with my husband, Eric, who's going to be playing music at the site. And Eric and I are board members in Sanctuary Forest.
Hi, and I'm April Newlander, and I'm the Executive Director for Sanctuary Forest.
My name's Ash, and I'm the Administrative and Program Assistant at Sanctuary Forest.
Great. So if you've ever been to the ceremony before, you're probably noticing that we are quite a bit smaller this year. So because of COVID, we decided to not open the ceremony up to the general public like we usually do, and instead just have it be led by a small group of Sanctuary Forest Board and staff and community members. The other change, there's a car going by, give that a second. The other change this year is that we decided not to have a fire pit with a live fire in it. We felt, in light of the devastating wildfires that are really consuming a lot of the West Coast right now, and the really high fire danger in this specific area that we are in right now, that it would be better to not use the fire element this year, and instead to use a water element, which you will kind of see what that means once we get inside the grove. So if there's no other thoughts, I will ask that we all now take a deep breath, and we will walk in silence to Ancestor Grove. So welcome to Ancestor Grove. Right behind Eric and Victoria is Ancestor Creek, which is a tributary to the MATTOLE River, and where the native salmon have been returning for thousands of years to spawn. Tonight, or leading up to the ceremony, I did what I usually do, which is I think about what the ceremony means, and then I think about the state of the world, and what it seems like where it is that we need to be putting a lot of our gratitude tonight at the ceremony. And I have to say, this was a challenging year to do that. There's so much pain this year. 2020 has been a really difficult and challenging year for many people for many reasons. And it seems like it's really easy to kind of fall into those dark spaces and lose hope. And the just kind of incredible division, I would say, that we're experiencing this year in our country, and anger at one another can be just daunting. So I just kept coming back to gratitude, because that's what the naming ceremony is about gratitude. And I just invite you all to stand with me in that tonight for an hour, and gratitude and hope, and try to fill our cups for the struggles ahead. So with that in mind, I would like to kind of set the tone tonight with a song that Ruby and I are going to sing. And I would like to dedicate it to two really special women. One to my aunt, Tasha McKee, who has donated or committed so much of her life to the restoration and well-being of this watershed and all the people in it. And to Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who donated so much of her life, to the people of this country. They are just two of the people that we shall be known by.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend his fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. Take a deep breath after the singing. So I just want to say a few words about the history of the naming ceremony and why it is we're here tonight. So the first naming ceremony was held in the early 1980s during a time when
the founders of Sanctuary Forest were trying to protect the remaining old growth in the Mattole headwaters. And at the time, it seemed pretty hopeless. It seemed almost certain that the trees would be cut, that it would take a miracle to save them. And I think it was a time of helplessness for these people who had really dedicated their lives, or dedicated their time at that point to saving these trees. So they decided to have a ceremony to gather in the trees that they were trying to protect, and to have a ceremony of gratitude to honor all the people who had supported their cause up to that point, and also to express gratitude to the river and the land. So now, 33 years later, we carry on that tradition. Each year we gather in those trees because they saved them, and we express our gratitude to all the people who have supported Sanctuary Forest, who make it possible for Sanctuary Forest to exist, and we express gratitude for this place, these trees and the river and this land. So with that in mind, in that spirit, the first list of names that we will read tonight are the names of all the donors to Sanctuary Forest in the last year. And the way we're going to read them is that everyone has a list of names, and we are just going to read them all together in kind of a collective murmur of energy and intention. And when you finish, you can just go ahead and fold your paper into quarters and then just hold on to them for later, until later in the ceremony. So I will start, and just join in whenever you're ready. Set. Oh, well, we're going to stand. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah. Seth Johannesson, 101 Netling.
Deborah Lurie.
Nancy
Gail Abbott.
Peregrine.
Bruce
Ronald
Fester,
Gary
Paul
Perkins.
Weimer,
Raina
Lana
Philbrick.
Alika,
Maggie
Eric
Phillips.
and Mary Almquist,
Claire
Amazon
Petronelli,
Smile,
Scott Bliss.
Clifton Anderson,
Pearson Building
Anonymous,
Center. Celeste
Sandy
Kinney.
Williamson
Richard
and Charlie
Cotrace.
Solo, Allison Appel and
Roseanne
Darren
Potter.
Zoe,
Leo Coward.
Linda Hammond and
Darlene
Talia
Pratt.
Descent,
Cheryl Price. Ramona
Celeste Armata
Provisor.
and Chip Sharp,
Sarah Provisor.
Gail Arnaud,
Gloria
Joseph
Purcell.
Ashbooker,
James
Laura
Frost.
McAney and
April
Flo
Quigley.
Tencio,
Harvey
Tony
Rader.
Carlson,
Ann
Rob
Anderson.
Anderson, B.
Walter
Avalon,
and Judy
Michael
Ramsey.
Corallo,
Randall
Avila
Sanded
Butcher
Gravel.
Sellers,
Marie
Melinda and Mark
Ray
Bailey,
Raphael.
Roy Baker
Ray
and Janice
Raphael.
Parakilas,
David
Marlene,
Formosa.
Susan
Red Ribbon
Barnsley,
Deli.
Myra Barr and Carol
Redwood
Schrader,
Properties. Diane
Barbara
Rudy.
Ferret,
Judy
Marie
Richardson.
Barty,
Jean
Paula
and Everett
Paula
Real.
McMahon, Joanne Bauer,
Ann
John and
L.
Teresa
Riley.
Porter,
Jack and
Ben
Gina
Bowen,
Wilson.
Harriet Hope
Rhonda
Berman,
Roberts.
Virginia
Fowler.
Wilsonson, Susan and Don
Susan
Bicknell,
Rode.
Ron
Sharon
Byer,
Subrin.
Rebecca Birch,
Anna
Rita
Rogers.
Solis,
Jacob
Lawrence
Schaefer.
and Ruth
Bud
Baker,
Rogers.
Jean
Karen
Lundquist
Roscoe.
and
Lauren
Craig
Jean Rosenmayer.
Kim Bloomfield,
Tony Ross.
Lee Sargass,
Jared
Joan and Barry Booth,
Rose and Ivan
Rick and Sally
Rose.
Botzler,
Janet
Joanne Bauer, Eric Braver
Diane and Alice D.
Bryson
Ryerson.
Vineyards, Charlie and Mary B.
George
Brock,
Sardina
Kim Bromley,
MD.
Ash
Mitch and
Higgins
Judy
and family,
Saslow.
Michael
Aletta
Brown,
Sauer.
Richard Brown,
North White.
Katie Bush,
Sarah K.
Ken
Savage.
Berger and
Mary
Diane
Lou
Wilson,
Marta.
Clifton and Patty
Les
Burke
and
Anderson,
Carol Schur.
Mary and Carlo Busby,
Eric
Jim
Grant
Butler,
Ships.
Jim Wilson,
Kiko
Susan
Chanel.
Butler, Matt Lizelle, Leela
John
Bemba,
Shaw and
Snow
Lucy
Gibson,
A.
Catherine Dolce,
Scott.
Pepper Sanborn,
Freya
Howard
Schroeder.
Gardens,
Jeff and
Vernon
Eddie
and
Schwartz.
Kristen Callahan,
Ann Bacon.
Margaret
Scott
A.
Evans
Carey, Joe
Foundation.
P. Collins,
Charles and
Lorraine
Judith
Farrell,
Rod.
Gerald
Judith
Case,
Scott.
Ted Cashin,
Evan Stevick.
Patricia Kavanagh, Leon and
William
Jan
F.
Shaker,
Jr.
Bruce
Lauren
Champy and Karen
Shaw.
Asha Champy,
Eric and Victoria
Ken
Schaefer.
and Charlotte Griggs Miller,
Chip
Oceana Chitard,
Ray Shaw.
Chautauqua Natural Foods,
Kathy
Hal
Shimada.
Childs,
Tara
Daryl and
Shining
Phyllis
Star.
Shane,
Fred
Bruce
Shot.
and Marion,
Jennifer Shot.
Church of the
Katie
Nativity,
Shot and
Edward
Susan
J.
Green,
Clark,
Ed and
Mariah
Mary
Gregory, and
Smith,
Ira Hurd,
Margaret
Clearwater Howard,
Signature Coffee,
Don
Karen
Clooney,
Lee Thomas, and
Carol
David
Thomas,
Thomas.
Payer, Ryan L.
Diana Singer,
Claire Larson,
Bob Smith,
Tim Lott,
Michael and Melissa Smith,
Carol Lawson,
Una Smith,
Linda Lawrence,
Rondell Snodgrass and
Peter Lawson,
Julie Carville,
Kathy,
Michael Solomon,
Jim,
Barbara and David
Frank
Sopcheese, David and
Noah
Barbara
Carrie
Sopcheese,
Susan
Trifina
Susan,
Lewis,
Southern Humboldt Fitness,
William Limbach,
Spring and Justin
Cheryl Listen,
Cogswell,
and Steve
Katie
Walters,
Stern,
John and Emily
Michael and
Lockett,
Barbara Stone,
Lawrence
Holly
Wilson,
Ann
and
Sweet,
Ann Elston.
Sylvandale Gardens, Tempera Board and Associates.
Every time I feel this way, this old familiar sinking, I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry.
Hallelujah.
I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. By and by I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry. It's been said, and I do believe, as you ask, so shall you receive. So take from me these troubles, bring me sweet release. Well, the river will never run dry.
Hallelujah.
I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. By and by I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry. There is a river in this heart of hearts, with a knowingness of my highest good. I am willing, I will do my part, so the river will never run dry.
Hallelujah.
I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. By and by I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry. Where the river will never run dry. This river will never run dry.
So we are now going to have a poetry reading by Ash.
Thank you. I'm going to read Like the Water by Wendell Berry. Like the water of a deep stream, love is always too much. We did not make it, though we drink till we burst. We cannot have it all or want it all. In its abundance, it survives our thirst. In the evening, we come down to the shore to drink our fill and sleep while it flows through the dark regions of the dark. It does not hold us, except we keep returning to its rich waters, thirsty. We enter, willing to die, into the commonwealth of its joy.
So the next list of names that we're going to read are the honor names. So these are people that Sanctuary Forest donors chose to honor with their donations. And the way we're going to read these names is we each will have a list of names, and we will read them aloud one at a time. We'll go in a circle, and we'll stand once again. And when you're finished, when you're out of names, you can fold your paper into quarters with intention and have a seat. So why don't we all stand, and I will start, and we'll go towards Ruby. And everyone just, I should have mentioned this before we read the donor names, but you know, speak clearly and speak up, and with energy and thought, right? The idea is kind of saying these names aloud in this sacred space, and kind of sending them into this collective energy of the forest and that we are creating. In honor of Arthur Freyer.
In honor of Gail Eastwood.
In honor of Susan Parsons.
In honor of Nancy Peregrine.
In honor of Lucy Schott.
In honor of John Livingston.
In honor of Barbara and Ed Cowles.
In honor of Jill Grigori and Robbie Tenorio.
In honor of the forest.
In honor of Patty McGuire.
In honor of Luna.
In honor of Julia Butterfly Hill.
In honor of Bill and Gail Eastwood.
In honor of Yvonne Clocker.
In honor of Will Randall.
In honor of Raymond Rice.
In honor of Lydia Putobo.
In honor of Justin Legge.
In honor of Chris Mazer.
In honor of Jackie and Carl DiStefano.
In honor of all doctors, nurses, and frontline workers.
In honor of Russell Kinderman.
In honor of the MATTOLE River.
In honor of Karen Olson.
In honor of the Young family.
In honor of Jacob Schaefer.
In honor of all firefighters, first responders, fire support staff, and volunteers.
In honor of Ruth Ann and Woody Wilson Jones.
In honor of Michael Pollock.
In honor of Kathleen Farrell.
In honor of Anna Rogers.
In honor of James and Virginia Helter.
In honor of the Sinkyone people.
In honor of Sanctuary Forest staff.
In honor of Mother Earth.
In honor of Laura Deslauriers.
In honor of Eric Goldsmith.
In honor of Joel Munchke.
In honor of Seven Snodgrass.
In honor of Nancy Miyamoto.
In honor of Lawrence Feldman.
Ye fleeting charms of earth, farewell, your springs of joy are dry. My soul now seeks another home, a greater world on high. I'm a long time traveling here below. I'm a long time traveling away from home. I'm a long time traveling here below to lay this body down. Farewell, kind friends whose tender care has long engaged my love. Your fond embrace I now exchange for the traveling here below to lay this body down, to lay this body down.
So we will now have a poetry reading by April.
This is To Be Held by Linda Hogan. To be held by the light was what I wanted. To be a tree drinking the rain, no longer parched in this hot land. To be roots in a tunnel growing, but also to be sheltering the inborn leaves and the green slide of mineral down the immense distances into infinite comfort. And the land here, only clay, still contains and consumes the thirsty need. The way a tree always shelters the unborn life, waiting for the healing after the storm which has been our life.
Beautiful. I wanted to also mention that for anyone watching at home, we will have links to the program from tonight, and I think to all the poetry and the songs as well, because there's just been some really beautiful choices. So we are now going to turn to our last list of names for the evening, and these are the in memory names. So these are people that Sanctuary Forest donors chose to donate in memory of. And just like the honor names, we will stand and we will read them one at a time with intention and energy and clearly and loudly. And once you are finished with your list, you can fold the paper into quarters, hold on to it, and have a seat until the next part of the ceremony. So let's stand, and we'll go in the same direction as before. In loving memory of Abigail Bellows.
In loving memory of Charles F. Custer.
In loving memory of Rose Marie Heyer.
In loving memory of Marilyn Heilman.
In loving memory of Judy Berry.
In loving memory of George Floyd.
In loving memory of Abram Soslow.
In loving memory of Charles W. Scott.
In loving memory of Rosemary Land.
In loving memory of Marion Miller.
In loving memory of Julie Felix.
In loving memory of Gerald Gregg.
In loving memory of Albert and Chip Cronia.
In loving memory of Christopher Miller.
In loving memory of the Honorable Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
In loving memory of Matt and Mickey Dillingham.
In loving memory of Carl Smith.
In loving memory of Geraldine Smith Person.
In loving memory of all my ancestors and relations.
In loving memory of Coral Inez Sykes.
In loving memory of Sean McKee.
In loving memory of Matthew Spiewak.
In loving memory of Katie Jacobson.
In loving memory of Greg Fitch.
In loving memory of all people of color that we have lost to police violence and hate crimes.
In loving memory of Danny Wade.
In loving memory of Sophia Tukey Wong Weissman.
In loving memory of Melba Rose Watson.
In loving memory of Ken Valentin.
In loving memory of Gregory Weed.
In loving memory of all those we have lost to SARS-CoV-2.
In loving memory of Dealu Tedzeth.
In loving memory of Stuart Tregoning.
In loving memory of Michael de Leon.
In loving memory of Kevin Ebert.
In loving memory of Helen Hartsook Womack.
In loving memory of all those we have lost to the wildfires.
In loving memory of Deborah Loria.
In loving memory of Sue Quast.
In loving memory of Michelle Amy Gard.
In loving memory of Larry and Jeannie Kirker.
In loving memory of Fa Young Lee.
In loving memory of Andrea Hansen.
In loving memory of Donovan.
In loving memory of Tad Matthew Balfour.
In loving memory of Miriam Darden.
In loving memory of Lash Baldwin.
In loving memory of Jack and Francis Andrews.
In loving memory of Andy Oronio.
In loving memory of Doug Shadbolt.
In loving memory of Thomas Peter Schotten.
In loving memory of Nadine Akiyama.
In loving memory of Laura Jordan.
In loving memory of Jake Oda.
In loving memory of Anne Levi and Emma Formosa.
In loving memory of Dow Weaver.
In loving memory of Tom Brundage.
In loving memory of Nancy Coney.
In loving memory of Leanne Jensen.
In loving memory of Jane and George Treaster.
In loving memory of Anthony and Pat Formosa.
In loving memory of Dr. N.J. Barnstein.
In loving memory of Tom Wade.
In loving memory of Olivia Dawn Marquez Sykes.
In loving memory of Leah Marie Carrico.
In loving memory of Janet Lubeski.
In loving memory of Baba Credo Mwatwa.
In loving memory of Elaine Sutton.
In loving memory of Tom Waite.
In loving memory of Orpheus.
In loving memory of Les Haro.
In loving memory of Jim Johnson.
In loving memory of Barbara Baldwin.
In loving memory of Eleanor Nemzura.
In loving memory of Travis Strange.
In loving memory of Pawnee.
In loving memory of Les Schur.
In loving memory of Joe Schaefer.
In loving memory of Barbara Graber.
In loving memory of Emily and Sheldon Wolin.
In loving memory of Valerie McKee.
In loving memory of Patrick Riggs.
In loving memory of Lisa Musial.
In loving memory of John Gregory.
In loving memory of Benjamin Schotten.
In loving memory of Emmy Lou Barnstein.
In loving memory of Virginia Kinn.
In loving memory of Petra Ramos.
In loving memory of Lon Bluford.
In loving memory of John Lewis.
In loving memory of Benjamin Tobin.
In loving memory of Fred Radloff.
In loving memory of Renee Schmid.
In loving memory of Raymond and Margaret Sue Fall.
In loving memory of Lowell Colbus.
In loving memory of John Paul Thornstein.
In loving memory of Breonna Taylor.
In loving memory of Gary and Susan Horst.
In loving memory of Wes and Linda Edwards.
In loving memory of Richard L. and Sally J. French.
In loving memory of Madeline Rose Coker.
In loving memory of John Staffslin.
In loving memory of Carmen Rascon.
In loving memory of Gary KAHLIL.
In loving memory of Will Conway.
In loving memory of Roland Potter.
In loving memory of Margaret Kimberling.
In loving memory of Joy Gallisdorfer.
In loving memory of William de la Fuente. In loving memory of William Vaughn. Say it again.
I may have said this, but I don't want this person left out, and I'm not sure. So, in loving memory of Petra Ramos.
In loving memory of Margarito Rascon.
I don't know if you guys heard it, but the forest kind of started to speak a little bit during that rustling up in the trees, the wind. Really, it's the more I do the ceremony here in this grove, the more I get this sense that the trees remember us and are glad that we're back to have this ceremony. And I think now more than ever, ceremony is so important. Because, like I was saying earlier, it is such a divisive time, and we have to find ways to refill that cup and to feel gratitude and to give back. So now we are going to move into the portion of the ceremony where we immerse the names in water. So what's going to happen is Ash is going to come around and collect all of these folded papers with names that we have so carefully folded, and she is going to immerse them in the basin of water. And after she does that, Ruby is going to place floating candles in the basin, and then we will take turns lighting candles while I lead us in a chant. And it's all going to go great. It's after, right? Oh, you have a poem. No, we should do that. How about when she's immersing it? So in my excitement, I skipped a poetry reading by Victoria. So while Ash is quietly immersing the names in the water, I would love for Victoria to read to us. I apologize.
It actually goes perfectly with that.
Great.
So I think it was meant to be. This is a beautiful, timeless poem by KAHLIL GIBRAN, well known by most. I've taken parts of it and put it together because I think it's so beautiful. You would know the secret of death, but how shall you find it unless you seek it in the heart of life? For life and death are one, even as the river and the sea are one. What is it to die but to stand naked in the wind and to melt in the sun? And what is it to cease breathing but to free the breath from its restless tides, that it may rise and expand and seek God unencumbered? Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing. And when you have reached the mountaintop, then you shall begin to climb. And when the earth shall claim your limbs, then shall you truly dance.
The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea. Mother, carry me, your child I will always be. Mother, carry me down to the sea. The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea. Mother, carry me, your child I will always be. Mother, carry me down to the sea. The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea. Mother, carry me, your child I will always be. Mother, carry me down to the sea. The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea. Mother, carry me, your child I will always be. Mother, carry me down to the sea. The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea. Mother, carry me, your child I will always be. Mother, carry me down to the sea. The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea. Mother, carry me, your child I will always be. Mother, carry me down to the sea. Yeah, so now we're going to have another poetry reading by Victoria.
All right, this is a beautiful quote from Rumi that I think is perfect for the moment. When I die, I shall soar with the angels, and when I die to the angels, what I shall become, you cannot imagine.
Make sure I didn't skip anything else. Okay. So now we will have a few minutes for a memorial sharing. So this is a time when you can add a name to the ceremony, or speak a thought or a wish or a prayer, anything that you feel moved to kind of contribute to this space. And I would also like to hold space for anyone who's watching at home. This would be a time that we invite you to speak a name aloud or type one in the comments, or any way that you feel moved to participate. And I will just start us off by saying that I was so struck, as always, I suppose, but by how many names on the memorial list were so familiar to me, and how many were familiar to the whole country. And it just reminded me once again of what time we are living in. And so I would just like to put out a prayer to this circle and this forest and this sacred space for strength and resilience.
I would just like to share One of my best friends passed away unexpectedly just about a month ago. So even though I wasn't able to go grieve with him, go back east because of COVID. And even though his name was mentioned, I just want to say it again. So Tad Balfour, rest in peace, brother.
I also had one of my best friends die very tragically in February, and yeah, Ariana Jones, I love you.
I'd like to speak with respect and honor to all those who have lost their homes in our recent crash of fire, and believe that what we're doing as an organization in trying to heal the forest and this planet is going to bring results, and that people will be able to live in harmony with the forest.
I would just like to say a word of gratitude and respect to all of our more than human kin that are disproportionately impacted by our actions.
I'd like to send a wish and a prayer to all the children on this planet that you keep believing, keep loving, have kind hearts, and don't give up, because it is a beautiful world. And I love all of you, little guys.
Amen to that. Well, I think that is the perfect way to segue into the very last part of the ceremony, which will be a song that Eric is going to lead us in. I'm going to come and stand by him. And I think this is a pretty familiar song.
Yeah.
So if anyone at home or here would like to join, we invite you to do so.
This is a sing-along.
And after this song is over, the ceremony will be over. So I just want to thank you all so much for being here tonight and participating and doing this together. I just want to say again how important I think it is. And I'm so honored to be a part of it.
When the night has come and the land is dark
And the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me.
So darling, stand
By me.
Oh,
Stand by me.
won't you stand?
Stand,
Won't you stand?
stand by me.
If the sky that we look upon should crumble,
Crumble and fall, or the mountains should tumble to the sea.
you guys are doing great. I won't cry.
I won't cry. No, I won't shed a tear. Just as long as you stand by me.
Darling, stand
By me, oh, stand by me. Stand, oh, stand by me.
Should we all stand?
Stand
By me, oh, stand.
comes